Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about what I call component-based design. If you've ever worked with Tailwind, you know that we write a lot of HTML and we write almost no CSS. And that's good in a way, but it's also bad that you end up with elements with a lot of classes, very clustered elements. Let's take a look. For instance, see this button. We have several classes here. See the input, we also have several classes, and using components is a very clever way to get rid of this. One of the biggest drawbacks of doing this is that if you have lots of buttons throughout your app and you want to change one of them and forget to change the rest, your apps start to look weird because you don't have a consistent design. You end up with lots of different elements throughout the app, and that's a problem we don't have with Bootstrap or Booma or Foundation. With other CSS frameworks that rely on classes, you would simply write button and the button color, and that's it. It's standard throughout the app. Before I show you how I work with components, I just want to remind you that my test-driven development with Laravel is almost ready to be released. I've just recorded lots of classes yesterday. Make sure to check that out in the description. But anyway, let's go back to the main topic. The goal is to get rid of this in every single place. And Laravel provides a component system. You can do something similar with Vue.js and React.js, but I'm going to show you guys in Laravel. If you've ever worked with Laravel components, you know that you have a class and you have a template. If you don't know what components are, take a look at the documentation. It's not extensive. I am going to create a button component and show you guys how I do it. First, we have to type make component button. And you see that we end up with a button.php file and a button.blade.php file. Whenever you pass an argument to a button, you can have them in the constructor. And then you can do whatever you want with them and then pass them as arguments to the view. So that's really good when you want to manipulate some data first and then pass it to the template already manipulated. So you just pass the result. But for what we need, we're actually going to use anonymous components. So let's get rid of this file. All we need is for Laravel to know that this file exists. Whenever Laravel finds a file within the components folder that does not have a class, it treats it as an anonymous component. Writing a component is just like writing an HTML tag. We just have to prepend it with x/. So if we do x/button, we are talking about the button component. If we do x/span, we would be talking about a span component. Let's keep this button. Let's close the tag. And we need to pass attributes, right? Whenever we pass as attributes here, for instance, type submit gets passed to the component in the attribute variable. So we have an attribute variable with all of the attributes that were passed to the component. And when we add it just like this to the component, Laravel automatically converts it to an appropriate HTML content. Let me show it to you guys. Another variable that we have is the slot variable, and the slot variable is just whatever is inside the tag. So let's type foo, and let's refresh the page. Let me inspect it. We can see it right here, and you can see that the type submit was passed along. And if we were to pass this along, it would work as well. Take a look. So we have a button. But the goal is to get rid of this. And you can see that the only thing that changes here between buttons is the color. Right now we have a blue button, but we may want a red button or a yellow button, whatever. That's what changes. So, of course, the type changes as well, so we need to pass this. But we also need to pass in the color. We just say blue. And we have the color available as attributes color. But there's a better way to deal with this. Laravel provides this props method, and we can instruct Laravel to know that the color is actually a prop and should be treated as such And if we do this, we now have the color variable available. We can also pass in default. So you can say that if we get a color, use it. If we don't get a color, just treat it as blue. Okay, cool. So what do we do with this? We have the color, but what do we do? Let's refresh it. Let's see what we get. Okay, cool. You can see that the color wasn't passed. Now, if I get rid of this, it is passed. We don't want it. We want it to be a prop. So let's add it. Now, let's copy this huge amount of classes. And where should we add it? Well, we could do class, but if we did this, how would we add additional classes? Let me show it to you guys what I mean. Let's get rid of this and passing the variable like this. Whoops, I shouldn't have changed this. Okay, let's see what happens. So, okay, we get the button as we should. But what if we wanted to add additional classes? For instance, what if you wanted to add text to Excel? Well, you end up with just the to Excel. Laravel provides a very handy way to deal with this. All we have to do is copy this. Let's remove it. And instead of writing HTML like this, we can call the merge method and passing the classes. So we just have to pass it. Let me change this to this. And as we are now inside a double strip, we can change this for this. So we are just invoking the variable right here. And let's see what happens. Okay, so now we get a big button and it doesn't have the issues that we've mentioned. See? Oh, we are getting a div. We have to change this for button. My bad. So now we are getting what we should. You see? And let me get rid of this. So we are able to now extend the button. We have the default button and we can extend it. Let me get rid of this. If I were to type in red, I would get a red. And you know, we could even make this more modular. For instance, we have the hover intensity here, which is 500. Let's say we want to make this changeable. We could pass in a prop called hover intensity. Let's default it to 500. And instead I could just do hover intensity. And if we refresh it, we get the proper intensity. But if we were to pass it here, like this, let's do 300. You can see that it's now much, much closer to white. So you have all of these options. You can make this as modular as you want. And that's how I do component-based design. Let's change something else. We have this input, right, with lots of classes. Let's make it a component as well. So I am going to copy this. I'm going to create a file called input. And let me paste this. Actually, let me paste the whole thing. Okay. Let me remove this. And we don't need this because we are getting this from the other file. Let's pass in the attributes. And we want to merge the class. We want these classes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Let's get rid of this. Awesome. Now let's see what happens if I change this for X input. I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to copy this as well. Okay, and we just have to close it. We don't have a slot. Let's refresh it. And you can see that we get what we expected. Let's change this to a hard-coded value just so we can test. And you can see that we have the value as we expected. If we were to pass a class, we can pass additional stuff. Let's say height 64. So it's now huge. And that's it. That's how I do component-based design. And I can guarantee you this is very helpful. And that's how it's done in Laravel Jetstream. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you liked it, if I could have done something better. And of course, if you have ideas for videos or topics you want to know about, feel free to leave it on the comments as well. Thanks for watching and see you later. Bye bye.